Good morning. Welcome to Global News on Signature TV. I'm Charles Pice. In the headlines, Tinubu declares state of emergency, suspends Fubara for 6 months. House of Reps to investigate allegations against Son. Enugu State leads the charge against climate change. And NASA astronauts Butch and Sunny returns to Earth after drawn-out mission in space. Details shortly. You see this person? Chinemere. She's left in the office. Are you serious?
I'm not here.
Ah.
Say yes. I say, you know this hobby is.
No, it's you.
Huh?
You know, it's you.
I know.
This is supposed to be upstairs. Like yesterday, you know, say that news will go upstairs because news.
Fire.
No light without that side. So, and I think there was one report where she did do where she no finish. She can't go for another report yesterday. So, the class said she would release that report. So there's no way we should go release her if she no sleep for office that yesterday. I'm sure that's the reason why she did.
What?
President Bola Tinubu has declared a state of emergency in Rivers State with effect from the 18th of March 2025 following the prolonged political crisis in the state. In a nationwide radio and television broadcast Tuesday night, Tinubu also suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odu as well as Rivers State House of Assembly for 6 months. He also announced the appointments of retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas as administrator to take charge of the affairs of the state. Tinubu explained that the declaration does not affect the judicial arm of Rivers State, which shall continue to function in accordance with their constitutional mandate. He stated that the administrator will not make any new laws, but however be free to formulate regulations as well as may be found necessary to do his job within the approved by the Federal Executive Council and promulgated by the President for the state. He stated that the latest security reports made available to him show that there have been disturbing incidents of vandalism of pipelines by some militant groups without the governor taking any action to curtail them. The president said he had given stern orders to the security agencies to ensure the safety of lives of the people of Rivers State and of oil pipelines. According to him, the declaration has been published in the Federal Gazette and a copy forwarded to the National Assembly in accordance with the Constitution. The declaration of the state of emergency came hours after Tinubu met with his service chiefs and the Inspector General of Police at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa. The meeting, which began around 3 p.m., also had Senate President Godswill Akpabio and Senate Leader Obayemi Bamidele in attendance.
During the campaign, why they thought, why one guy, now he's a very strong man.
The Nigerian Bar Association's NBA has faulted the purported suspension by the President of the Governor of Rivers State and the Deputy Governor and the members of the Rivers State House of Assembly for 6 months, describing it as unconstitutional. The President of the Association and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Afam Osigwe, in a statement noted that the 1999 Constitution does not grant the President the powers to remove an elected governor or members of the state legislature under the guise of a state of emergency. It said that Sections 188 of the Constitution provides clear procedures for the removal of a governor and deputy, while the removal of the members of the House of Assembly and the dissolution of Parliament is governed by constitutional provisions and electoral laws. Osigwe stated that none of the legal provisions has been adhered to in the present circumstances, insisting that the declaration of emergency does not automatically dissolve or suspend elected state governments. He said that the situation in Rivers State, though politically tense, does not meet the constitutional threshold for the removal of elected officials, which includes war, danger of invasion, or breakdown of public order, among others. The NBA president therefore called on the National Assembly to reject any unconstitutional attempt to ratify the removal of the Rivers State governor and other elected officials, saying the approval of the state of emergency must be based on strict constitutional grounds and not political expediency. An explosion has rocked the Trans-Niger pipeline in the Bodo community, Gokana local government area of Rivers State. According to an eyewitness, the blast took place on the onshore pipeline near the starting point of Bodo Boni Road. While the fire has been put out, the cause of the explosion remains unknown. The Minister of Regional Affairs, Abubakar Momo, told newsmen that there has not been any clear details as to what caused the explosion, but that investigations are ongoing. Some members of the community were seen keeping watch over the area following the incident. Meanwhile, the Rivers State Police Command says it has commenced a thorough investigation to determine the cause of the fire. A statement by the police public relations officer Grace Iringe Okoko said 2 individuals have been taken in for questioning in connection with the incident as part of the efforts to uncover any potential acts of sabotage. The statement said the command remains committed to ensuring that perpetrators of criminal activities are identified and brought to justice. It urged residents of the state to remain calm and vigilant, assuring them of an unwavering commitment of the command to protecting lives and property of citizens. The command said it will not relent in its efforts to rid the state of criminal elements and maintain peace and security for all, while calling for useful information regarding the incident or any suspicious activities. A group of human rights lawyers and activists has expressed outrage over the comments by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike about the minority Ijo ethnic group in Rivers State. The group, which addressed a news conference in Abuja, said the minister
Unfortunately, I cannot provide specific details about a hypothetical F-16 minister or their comments without more context. Based on the search results, the situation revolves around comments made by Nyesom Wike, the FCT, Federal Capital Territory.
people?
Well, I think what may have triggered the suspension of the government of Rivers State is because of the bombing that Ijaw people, not Ijaw now, not Ijaw people, because I want to be specific. Asari Dokubo specifically said you cannot stop Ijaw people from doing what they are going to do. If there was no threat, maybe the government would be looking at it in a certain way. But right now, that threat happened, and it started yesterday. 2 pipelines bombed within a space of just 3 hours. And so the president at the time also met with service chiefs. So there was no way out of all of this conundrum. It was just going to be one way, which is if the Rivers State House of Assembly isn't fast enough to remove the governor, then the government of the day has to do something about it. But whether it's constitutional or not is one thing, But I feel that it was too quick. The suspension of the government of Rivers State was too quick, and I don't think it's in good taste for the Rivers people. The Constitution cannot in any way suspend the elected government. The Constitution didn't give the president the right to do that. I don't know where the president got his powers from, but I just feel that we're headed in the wrong direction with this. I really do not know why the president cannot call Wike to order. Why can't you just call Wike to order? The Central Zone of the Ijaw Youth Council has called for the immediate sack of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, from the federal cabinet over his alleged unguarded statement against the Ijaw race. The chairman of the Central Zone, Perez Iniefe, hinted that the move against the FCT minister is a call for total cleansing on the utterances and disjointed history he presented. The Emergency Congress concluded that a 2-kilometer walk be observed to peacefully protest against the false statements by the minister against Ijaw people, which it claimed is the 4th largest ethnic group in Nigeria. The Nigerian Senate has denied claims that the proposed social media bill is aimed at suppressing freedom of expression. The bill, it says, is rather aimed at addressing issues such as taxation and record keeping for digital platforms operating in Nigeria. The president of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, made the declaration during the second reading of the bill sponsored by Ned Nwoko. bill proposes an amendment to the Nigerian Data Protection Act 2023, aiming to improve data management and ensure accountability among social media platforms. After the debates, the bill was referred to the Senate Committee on ICT and Cybersecurity for further review within 2 months. A bill to establish the National Cashew Production and Research Institute has passed first reading in the Senate. The bill, which is being sponsored by Jibril Echocho, representing Kogi East Senatorial Districts, proposes that the institute would be situated at Ida headquarters of Igala Kingdom and will be charged with the responsibilities of cashew research, processing, and boosting production for local and export consumables. The proposed bill is designed to ensure that the federal government would leverage on abundant cashew production in Kogi East and by extension Kogi State and other parts of the country to ensure that the quality of cashew will be of global standards. It said the legal framework of the Research Institute will identify the value chain and processing, ensuring that at each level there is job creation for the teeming youths. The Senate has set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the alleged annexation of the country's mangrove islands and maritime territories by the Republic of Cameroon. The committee is expected to report back with necessary recommendations in the next 2 months. Moving the motion, Anir Khan Bassi raised an alarm over the economic and territorial implications of Cameroon's encroachment into Nigerian territory. He lamented that Cameroonian security forces known as the Gendarmes and imposed foreign laws on Nigerians living in 16 ancestral villages in the affected areas, a situation he described as a monumental national embarrassment. As part of his resolutions, the Senate has urged President Bola Tinubu to take immediate steps to safeguard Nigeria's territorial waters, including securing over 2,560 oil wells identified within the disputed mangrove islands in Akwa Ibom State. The Senate leadership has also committed to engaging directly with President Tinubu to explore diplomatic solutions to the crisis. The motion also highlighted that illegal annexation violates multiple international agreements, with lawmakers advocating for a review of the judgments of the International Court of Justice and calling for the matter to be reported to the United Nations Convention. The House of Representatives has mandated the clerk to the National Assembly to revert all authenticated bills to the clerks of the Senate and House of Representatives for confirmation before final transmission to the President. This is to ensure the accuracy and integrity of bills and prevents alterations or errors during authentication. The decision followed a motion loved by Sada Soli, who observed that there were often some discrepancies or changes in some bills from their original versions. Solis noted that recent rejection of a bill by the President Bola Tinubu due to errors, emphasizing the need for thorough verification. The House also set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the status of the 5% user charge owed to FEMA, with a report expected in 4 weeks. Moving the motion, Frederick Abedi recalled that in 2016, the Senate directed PPPRA to remit 634 billion naira to FEMA for unremitted funds from 2007 to 2015, but regretted that there was no clear evidence of full disbursements. And still on legislative matters, the Green Chamber has directed the Standards Organization of Nigeria (SON) to take decisive action against the circulation of fake products and substandard building materials in the country. This resolution followed the motion of urgent public importance moved by Billy Osawaru from Edo State. The House also mandated its committees on industry and trade to investigate allegations that SON reversed its decision to shut down 18 companies found guilty of producing and distributing substandard building materials, particularly iron rods. The committees are to report their findings within 4 legislative weeks. The House also condemns the recent killings and invasion of communities in Ondo State by suspected headsmen, urging the federal government to establish a security base in the affected areas to protect residents and prevent further attacks. The motion to that effect was moved by Abiodun Adeshida from Ondo State. Up ahead, Governor Peter Mbah lauds UNICEF for its partnership with state government. Abia State government discovers over 55 heritage sites. These and more after the break. I'm still looking to find where the president got his powers from to suspend the sitting governor of a state, for a state that is not at war, for a state that is not in turmoil. On what basis is he suspending the government, an elected government of a state? Some things must have to happen. I just hope and I pray that the bombing of oil pipelines is stopped, and there's some sort of political resolution to this issue. He enabled Wike so much. That's why we have this problem. Welcome back. This is Global News on Signature TV. The Enugu State Governor, Peter Mbah, has flagged off the second phase of the State Urban Road Rehabilitation Program. The roads, numbering 141, cut across Ababa, Achara Layout, Asata, Okunano, New Haven, Old GRA, Ogui, Thinkers Corner, Transikulu, Wani, and some connecting roads in those areas. Signature TV correspondent Gina Mermike Bonham witnessed the event. The Enugu State Governor, Peter Mbah, says the state government is determined to combat the destructive impact of climate change in the state. The governor stated this during the official launch of the Enugu State's Climate Policy, Climate Action Plan, and Climate Education Manual held at the Old Government Lodge, Enugu. Dr. Mbah, who was represented by the Deputy Governor, Ifeanyi Osai, commended the development partners for their involvement in the tree planting campaign, which is both step in mitigating the effects of climate change. The State Commissioner for Environment and Climate Change, Professor Sam Ugu, said climate change has become a global challenge which impacts on livelihoods and ecosystems, distorting national and subnational socio-economic values and activities. Enugu State Governor Peter Mbah says he is visibly impressed with the support of the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, in addressing some social challenges in the state. Governor Mbah expressed his feelings while playing host to the Chief Field Officer of UNICEF in Enugu, Juliet Chilue, and her team, who came on the courtesy visit at the Government House, Enugu. The governor emphasized the importance of continuity, stressing that their collaborative efforts need to sustain at least in the next 5 years to achieve tangible results. there has been some development in Rivers State. Of course, we've been following the updates from Rivers State. Earlier, we mentioned to you that the president suspended the government of Rivers State owing to the brouhaha being faced by the issues relating to bombings of the pipelines in the state, amongst other issues that the president mentioned. But the governor, Similis Fubara, has actually reacted to some of the details. Governor Sim Fubara, who was suspended from the office for 6 months by President Bola Tinubu after the declaration of state of emergency in the state, has spoken and made the declaration after the news broke. He says, quote, "My dear people," I just want to read a part of his statement that he's released. "I address you today with a deep sense of responsibility and calm as we navigate these unfortunate moments in our state's political history. Since assuming office as your governor, all my actions and decisions have been guided by my constitutional oath of office and a great sense of duty. We prioritize the protection of lives and property and ensure the continuous progress of our dear state. Even in the face of the political impasse, we have remained committed to constitutional order and the rule of law, putting the interests of our people above all else. This was why immediately after Mr. President's intervention to broker peace, we did not hesitate to implement the agreed terms in good faith, including welcoming back commissioners who had previously resigned on their own volition. Furthermore, we moved swiftly to comply with the Supreme Court's judgment. Immediately, we received the certified true copy of the judgment to return the states to normalcy. These steps were taken not for personal gains, but to foster peace, unity, and stability in our dear state. Unfortunately, at every turn, members of the Rivers State House of Assembly frustrated our efforts, thus making genuine peace and progress difficult. Our priorities remain the security of lives and property and advancing the well-being and prosperity of Rivers people. Yes, we have political disagreements, but good governance had continued. Salaries have been paid and great projects were being executed to move the state forward. Above all, Rivers State is safe, secure, and peaceful under our watch. At this critical time, I urge all Rivers people to remain peaceful and law-abiding. We will engage with all relevant institutions to ensure that our democracy remains strong and that Rivers State continues to thrive. We have always been a resilient people, and we will face this situation with wisdom, patience, and unwavering faith in the democratic process. God bless Rivers State. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria." Well, that's a statement released by the embattled governor of Rivers State. He's now been suspended by the president and the House of Assembly, 27 of them. And not just that, I actually saw a statement from the Speaker of the House also blaming the governor for the impasse that have been witnessed in Rivers State. The governor released a statement also blaming the State House for the impasse in Rivers State. And this has culminated into some chaos. Has been no peace since that Supreme Court judgment was announced. So keep an eye on that and bring you up to speed when any other things develops. All right. The Abia State government says it has discovered over 55 unique heritage sites as part of its ongoing efforts to revamp the state's tourism industry. The sites, which include caves, waterfalls, and historical landmarks, were identified during an exploratory project led by the Ministry of Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy. At a press briefing at Government House, Umuahia, on the outcome of the weekly Executive Council meeting, the Commissioner for Information, Oke Kanu, said the state government is committed to preserving the sites and has taken deliberate steps to reactivate them. He listed some of the notable sites for reactivation to include Ulochukwu Cave in Alai, Ibom Waterfall in Arochukwu, the Mazi Okoligi's compound in Arochukwu, and the location where participants in the famous Aba Women's Riots of 1929 were tried, as well as the National War Museum and Ojukwu Bunker in Umuahia. The Commissioner disclosed that some states' road infrastructure projects and 7 major roads, including Ndoki Road, School Road, Market Roads, Clifford Road, are due for commissioning soon. Meanwhile, the Abia State Governor, Dr. Alex Oti, has signed into law the Abia State Electricity Bill that empowers the state to regulate its own electricity market. Governor Oti said at the signing ceremony that the executive arm of government has the capacity to implement the law and that the state would soon set up the Abia State Electricity Regulatory Authority, ASERA. Gonoti said the 64-page law would support power initiatives of the government, which will stand the test of time and strengthen the plans of government to extend power to the rest of the 8 council areas of the state, having sealed the Aba ring fence with geometric power limiters covering 9 local government areas. He commended the State House of Assembly for the speedy but careful passage of the bill and appreciated the development partners for their input. Presenting the bill for signing, the Speaker, Abia State House of Assembly, Emmanuel Emeroa, said the Abia State is on the right path with the electricity bill, which he said would boost business investment in the state. The host communities for the proposed Abia Airport in Sulu, Isialangwa, North Local Government Area of the Abia State, have written to the Abia State Governor expressing their concern regarding the land acquisition plan for the airport project. The group, known as the Landowners and Host Communities for the Insulu Airport Project, is in a release signed by the various leaders of the communities that have lands for the airport constructed objected to the proposed acquisition of 1,025 hectares of land for the airport project. They said the loss of the vast parcels of land would lead to insufficient land for farming, housing, and essential needs, ultimately resulting in hunger and starvation. According to them, the proposed land acquisition would exacerbate existing social economic challenges, increase poverty, unemployment, and insecurity, and leave the communities with reduced space for new homes, burial grounds, and other community development. They proposed a land size of not more than 400 hectares for the airport, which they said would balance the needs of the airport with livelihoods and well-being of the communities. The Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasyn, is accusing Sterling Oil and Gas of abusing the export trade quota system in Nigeria, which allows companies operating in the country to bring in a limited number of foreign workforce that are not available locally. According to Pengasyn, the oil company is using the quota to deny Nigerians of jobs and discriminate against Nigerian workers. Correspondent Josephine Bitrus has the report. Maybe the president is scared of Wike. He's scared of what Wike can do. He doesn't want to offend Wike. You never can tell. And all this is about 2027 election. You know, I just hope that the issues will be resolved and Similayo Fubara will be back to government house. So
and generating
A federal high court in Abuja has struck out the preliminary objection by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPCL) challenging the competence of the 100 billion naira import license suits instituted by Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals. In a ruling, Justice Yang Ekwo held that the NNPCL failed to file a counter affidavit against Dangote Refinery's suit, but rather filed a preliminary objection contrary to relevant laws guiding court proceedings. The judge added that where the issue of jurisdiction is raised, the court can address it at the time of judgment. He faulted the NNPCL for flouting Order 16 of the Federal High Court's rules by filing an incompetent preliminary objection against the refinery. Justice Ekwo held further that NNPCL would not suffer by miscarriage of justice if Dangote Refinery amended its suit. On the application by Dangote Refinery to amend its suits to properly cite the name of the NNPCL, Justice Ekwo said the amendment can be granted and subsequently approved the amendment of the suit. The federal government says it is committed to clearing all the obstacles hindering the progress of the ongoing dualization of Zaria Funtua Gusau Sokoto Road to pave the way for the completion of the project within the stipulated time frame. The Minister of State for Works, Bello Goroyo, stated this while inspecting sections 2 and 3 of the project that cut across Zamfara and Katsina states. Correspondent Excellence Benjamin was in the minister's entourage and now reports. And that's the news. And that's the news this hour. I'm Charles Pius. Thanks for watching. Join me in another few minutes for the morning show. Woo! What a run. What a run, what a run. So join us right at the top of the hour for some interesting discourse. Of course, it's going to be about Rivers. Rivers is going to be quite interesting discourse we're going to be having today. So join us. Thank you so much.